Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the fourth sector. It is 8 o'clock in the evening, 9 o'clock in the evening, and Joe is wearing sunglasses. We are here to talk about the race in Baku and all the stuff that happened yesterday. Today is Monday.
See, I'd like to bring up the fact that no one watches us on YouTube, so no one would have known that I was wearing sunglasses unless you pointed it out.
Sorry. But anyway, we have a race to talk about, and I thought we'd just start as we always do with a bit of qualifying. We were in Baku this weekend. For anyone that weirdly is listening to this show before knowing that, I don't know how that would work. And yeah, Leclerc pole was a sensational lap, may I add. Sainz was on provisional pole.
Yeah.
Which was a big shock to everyone. He hadn't really been there all weekend. Perez topped 2 of the 3 sessions, so we knew he was in with a shout. Delivered a P2 with no toe. Great job from Checo. Max P3 and Sainz P4. So it was not too much to discuss in qualifying. It was fairly business as usual, really, wasn't it? It was Ferrari, Red Bull, Ferrari, Red Bull. Ferrari with, I believe, their 3rd pole position in a row, I think.
Yeah. He's putting it on. His one lap is ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, and it shows Ferrari have got the pace, and of course their issues we're going to address very shortly. Quick shout out to Lance Stroll for qualifying was the one thing we wanted to mention. 2 crashes in 35 seconds or something. So
he's binned it.
Yeah.
And flat spotted his tyres and
stayed out.
They thought maybe a bit of front wing damage, didn't they?
Yeah.
Possibly. But he still had time. This was in Q1. He would have still had time to go in, wouldn't he?
Yes. Yeah.
He would have had time to go in, replace his front wing if it needed replacing, but he definitely needed his tyres replacing because on the next lap, going into, was it turn 3 he was going into?
Yeah, like turn 2 or turn 3, just straight in the wall.
It just didn't turn, did it?
Didn't.
You could see his hands going to the left in the car.
The car's like, nah, mate, nah, I'm good. So, yeah, a particularly interesting move from Lance Stroll. Lewis Hamilton was investigated in qualifying. I don't know if you saw this at all. He slowed down loads, and it was because he didn't have a toe, and they told him that Norris was coming up behind him, and he was like, all right, so he slowed down to let Norris through to get a toe.
And then Norris slowed down.
Norris was like, I want a toe. So that got investigated. No further action was taken. And Alonso did an Alonso.
Oh, I'll get it up. I've got it.
We've got a picture for anyone that's watching this on YouTube. You'll be able to see. And if you can't, we were discussing in our Monaco show about how Alonso.
So this was the Monaco one, as you can see here. There's a gap. I'm not actually covering anyone up. There is a gap, and it was from. I think it's Norris up here. I'm seeing this backwards, and then Alonso over here.
You have got that correct, yeah.
Okay, and then this was hilariously
in qualifying. You can see when they were all in a mad dash to make the line for final runs in Q2.
That's Q1 because it was Stroll that crashed. So there's 19 cars there.
And Alonso has once again decided he's going to hold up half the grid. And of course, on his next way round, on the supposed fast lap, he shot off at like turn 10 or whatever it is, or 15 or whatever. And Albon basically said that he said he was planning that, and like he'd been doing it the whole lap, like he was driving slow on purpose.
I don't think it's not against the rules unless you get summoned, I suppose. So
no, he did a Rosberg. He did a Rosberg in Monaco. And that's that's as much as there is to say about qualifying. Sometimes there's big talking points. This was a fairly quiet qualifying session, but we did have an eventful race. Not the most eventful race in Baku. If anything, it was a procession after around 20 laps. But it was setting up to be a bit of a barnstormer, and unfortunately, things happened. So as we always do here on the fourth sector, we will start at the top. And well, in this scenario, we're starting at the top and the bottom because we're going to do Red Bull and Ferrari as a collective. But can you see a way? So Leclerc is now 35 points or 36 points behind Max, and they are 80 points behind in the constructors. Now I know we're a third of the way through the season. Is there any way back for Ferrari?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course. Well, I mean, you've only got to look at some of the gaps that Hamilton had to Verstappen last year, and then there was a couple of incidents a couple of DNFs, which we know that Red Bull can have. There was a couple of DNFs that Max had last year that brought Lewis back into the fight. So Charles needs to, well, obviously Ferrari need to sort out the reliability issues that they're having with the car and hopefully not make as many mistakes on the strategy. But yeah, there's every chance that we're not even, as you say, we're only third away from through the season. So yeah, every chance if they can buck up, and it looks like he's not putting a foot wrong, is he really, Leclerc?
No, in terms of personal performance, that he can hold his head very highly because he's driving great. He's driving very well, and it's Ferrari know that they've got a great driver on their hands, but they need to make sure they're giving him what he needs. And I think a pattern with Ferrari over the last few years, I said last few years, probably around the last decade. It is a worrying thing because every Formula One fan likes Ferrari. Well, obviously I support Lewis Hamilton, and because of my ties as a kid, I think I'll always love McLaren. But if you're a F1 fan, you like Ferrari because they're a staple of the sport.
It's F1, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly that. But the thing that they've had this tendency at the moment to sort of replace drivers over replacing their team. So Fernando Alonso gave them 2 terrific championship fights in a car that wasn't able to do that in 2011 and 2012, or 2010 and 2012. When Fernando spoke out and said that the team needed to fix it, they didn't replace anyone in the team. They replaced Fernando. They brought Vettel in. They said, all right, fuck it. And then Vettel said that they needed to sort it out after having some terrific campaigns in 17 and 18. So Vettel ended up going. So I just hope that with this frustration, what I'm saying is with this frustration with Leclerc, I'm just hoping that Ferrari can identify that this guy is not putting a foot wrong. And then
possibly arguably the best driver on the grid at the minute.
Yeah.
This season as a standout. Obviously he's had some very good races when the car was competitive-ish before as well. And I think any time before this year that he's challenged for a win, it's been a lot more off merit than the car. Whereas this year, obviously, he's got the instrument that should be, should be carried into a championship. And if we looked at, if you don't count the races that he DNFs or the strategy's wrong, he's not put a foot wrong, so he should be marching along to a championship. But I 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah, so it's just, I just want that as a partnership to succeed, in a weird way. So, yeah, I just don't want Ferrari to do something that they've done a couple of times in recent history with we're talking about Vettel and Alonso as well. We're talking about top drivers. So there's no loyalty there. But, I'm hoping things are going to be different, and maybe they've learned their lesson now a little bit as well. But, of course, they had an issue. And they had 2 issues because Carlos Sainz didn't finish the race either. It's very easy to forget that Red Bull had the similar woes at the start of the season, isn't it? It's almost like...
First, was it 2 out of 3 races at the beginning, or 2 out of 4?
Yeah, Max didn't finish in the first 2 out of 3 races, and he won one in between.
And Checo DNF'd in 2 of the first 4 as well, or something?
Something like that, yeah.
There was some double DNFs from them. And it looked like Ferrari had the reliable car because it was fast and it was reliable.
Yeah.
But maybe the shelf life of that reliability is shorter than we imagined.
Yeah, well, they, it's all the issues come through the MG UK, which is to do with the electronic recovery system that's in the engine, and that transfers the energy from the battery to the engine. And that's been the issue not only on that car, but I think so. If in the last 3 races, we of course had, I think it was Charles at Monaco. Charles at Barcelona.
Yep.
And then in Monaco we had Magnussen and Guan Yu Zhou.
Zhou Guan Yu. But yes, you're right.
And then of course in this race yesterday,
Zhou
Joe Magnussen,
Leclerc,
Sainz. So there are some very worrying signs in that Ferrari garage. And is Matteo Binotto, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
I've looked at some of his interviews today. I was doing some like research for the podcast to sort of discuss some tidbits, and the worrying thing for Ferrari fans at the moment is that he said that he doesn't know what the problem is, and they don't know what the problem is.
You'd lie, wouldn't you? I'd lie.
I think I would lie, but then
I'd lie through my teeth.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, we're going to sort it. It's just going to take a bit. But he's just straight up said, like, we're not 100% sure what it is. They haven't officially disclosed what caused Charles' retirement in Barcelona, by the way. They still haven't officially come out and said what it was.
Car died, didn't it?
Car died, yeah. So,
I was watching it live. Car just died.
Car just don't work. Car stopped working. But I just found it interesting that this could prove to be a very big issue at a very pivotal time in the season. And that brings us along to the team at the front at the moment, who are just really having a fucking great time and capitalizing on things. And that's Red Bull. In the opening stint, Perez obviously got Leclerc at the first corner. And then Max...
you don't want to be on pole in Baku, do you?
No, I don't. It's a long run.
It's not even remotely an advantage being at the front there, is it?
Doesn't look like it. It seems that everyone always gets that tough getaway. Plus, you're on the outside, so it's so easy for a dive bomb. I don't know. It's a weird one because I guess if you put it on the inside, you'd be like, oh well, I've got to move across. I don't know. The drivers know a lot more than me, but it just seems it seems very favourable.
The reaction time was very, very similar. I think he was about 6 milliseconds slower than Perez or something. Like it was maybe 4 milliseconds. It was like, when you say in split second, it's, not even remotely close to that. So the reaction time wasn't the issue. He did lock up a little bit, but Perez had already forced him wide, it looked like, and he had slightly better start. But I think it looked like Verstappen actually had a better start than all three of them, because Verstappen was gaining on Perez and Perez led into turn one.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a melee, and then it kind of settled down. The race got into a very natural sort of flow. Leclerc was keeping Max at bay even when Max had DRS. And that to me at the time made me think, okay, Ferrari, because we thought that Red Bull was going to kind of, particularly down the straights, was going to cause all sorts of issues. And Leclerc was keeping him at bay. And maybe he was using a lot of energy. Maybe he's using a lot of VRS, and that's what wore the engine
that could
out.
Be the case, obviously.
But so Red Bull started off, and then obviously Sainz was the first one to go.
It's like lap 9, wasn't it?
Yeah. And that was hydraulic, so that wasn't related, apparently. But at the end of the day, it's still a reliability issue via BBW, brake by wire failure. What
was the abbreviation?
It's BBW, mate. Paul di Resta made that very clear on the commentary.
Yeah.
It was BBW that was the issue.
BBW.
So, Red Bull... after that, I mean, there's not a lot to say after lap 20. They boxed under the safety car. Leclerc boxed under the safety car. Red Bull stayed out. And it was an interesting call. We knew Ferrari had a long way to go to the end on those tyres, but you knew there was also a chance of an incident in Baku. And I think Ferrari were banking on that at the time before the engine failure, that he would probably maybe get a cheap stop. So he eventually, the Red Bulls pitted. He was 13 seconds in front, Charles Leclerc. And then the next time the TV cameras cut to him, there is a plume of smoke pissing out of his car.
Yep.
And as we've discussed with their engine woes, it is a concern at the moment. But that from there, it's a procession. I've never seen them, sometimes you just see them drives. And that was a really mature, good drive from Max. They told Perez no fighting. At the end of the day, Max was 3 seconds a lap quicker than him at the time of overtaking him. That is insane.
It did sound like that Peaky Blinders clip.
No fighting. No
fucking fighting.
Yeah. So
that was a terrible Brummie accent.
It was good. Don't worry about it. They told Perez no fighting, but I think they knew that the pace difference was there. Perez, a very rare thing to say about him, but he was struggling with his tyres.
Yeah. Well, it was relatively hot, wasn't it? It wasn't as hot as we've seen in Baku before, I don't think, but it was pretty warm.
Yeah, and it's just he's normally great on his tires. I don't know if there was just something in the water, but yeah. So it's at the moment. I mean, Max is now top of the championship on 150 points. Sergio Perez is second in the championship with 129. So that's 21-point gap at the top for Max. So I know you've just said that you think they can come back, but you surely agree that Max is red hot favorite now.
Oh yeah, 100%. But yeah, I just think based on what we can see from what we've seen from Charles, if he's got the car, he's not nailed on, but if he's got the car, he's beaten Max at quite a few of these Grand Prix that we've got. Obviously at this point now, you're saying the difference is expanding, and that is what it is. But well, the Red Bull have already shown they've got some reliability issues as well. So if Ferrari get theirs sorted, Charles puts in the performances he has again. He's made, I think, one error this season, isn't it?
Yeah, Imola, wasn't it? The spin at Imola.
One error. I think that's the only time I could ever say he's made a mistake there. I think every other time he's been behind the wheel in any session, he's been pretty much flawless. So, yeah, I do think there's still a chance. I'm hoping that it can become a bit more of a 2-horse race. And if it's not a 2-horse race with Leclerc, I hope it's a 2-horse race with Perez.
Yeah, of course. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are supporting Checo. I think as much as because obviously I'm rooting for him all the way, Checo, and I like Charles Leclerc. I would like to see him do it, but I don't think this is actually anything to do with my agenda against Max Verstappen. That is very apparent. I think it's more that it's just Checo's been in Formula One for I think 11 seasons.
Yeah, 11
he was at Force India for 7. He more or less was a big part of the reason that team was even still afloat in 2018 before Lawrence Stroll ended up buying it. And then he got fucked off. And
was it 2019 his win, or was it 2018?
I think it was 2019 his win. But I think 2018 was the switch from Force India to Racing Point, I think.
Yeah. And then he won when it was Racing Point.
Yeah. But yeah, that he was a big part of that. He's, he was a big part of that team still being a team for Lawrence Stroll to buy. And then he just gets outed out of his seat, lands in a dream seat, then gets fairly put as a absolute number 2 for a year.
He was very inconsistent last season, I'll say that.
Yeah, very fairly. That is very fair. So to show up this year and just really, so it's like an underdog story. So I think there's an element of that as well, which is making me really root for Checo, even though he's driving in a Red Bull. So yeah, let's go Checo. Fucking go on, boy. But it's just, obviously these rule changes come in and they're trying to nullify the Mercedes dominance, and they're trying to make a whole new thing with more competitive.
They've tried to bring the pack together, but it's actually ended up the fact that Ferrari and Red Bull are so far ahead of everyone else when they finish the races. They're so far ahead of everyone. It's almost incomparable, isn't it? Majority of the time you'll see they're a second faster than the third fastest car every lap.
It has really gone the other way. And I know you can't, Formula One would have ran a lot of data, and there's only so much data they can run because they know that teams are independent and they're all going to come up with their own unique ideas. But I think they've got it a little bit wrong. But I can't fault them. I can't say, they shouldn't have done that, because, it was, you have to try these things, and there is, with the growing interest in the sport, they wanted to try and keep it interesting, but they appear to have gone the other way a little bit. Well, no, it is interesting, but it's just very one-sided in terms of that.
I will before we go on any further. I realise we've mentioned the sunglasses, but I've not actually said why I'm wearing them in the evening.
No, I thought it was kind of cool just leaving it unaddressed.
Yeah, no, I'm not actually a man of mystery. I've just got a sty and a really swollen left eye. So
his eye is very swollen, and
it's like I've been punched.
It does actually. You could probably use that.
Should we just rock it? It's been like, oh yeah, should have seen the other guy.
No, it's fine, man. You do whatever you want to
I'm
do.
going to keep the sunnies on.
Yeah, I think that's what you want to do. But so yeah, Red Bull, Ferrari, the battle is very much going the way of Red Bull. And I personally now can't see it being anything other than a Max Verstappen and Red Bull year. That's just my opinion. But I see him getting to this position and just it doesn't have that same vibe as it does last year, where you feel like there's still a chance. I just don't get that vibe. Happy to be wrong. Really happy.
Yeah, and I understand where you're coming from, but I think using last year as like the basis for this as well. If you see, I don't know what the biggest gap in points was between Hamilton and Verstappen at any point last year.
It was like 45 or something. Yeah, it's doable. It is doable.
We're early doors. If they can get the reliability sorted, Charles has proven this season, as I say, by making literally one mistake that he can do it. So that's my 2 cents, and it's probably a fairly hopeful 2 cents on it.
Oh yeah, I hope it's more competitive, but it's just Well, I think I'm a bit brainwashed because it was such a imperious drive. I'm like, wow, that guy looks unbeatable. But like, I have to remember there's 2 red cars that can fight when they're in the race and cause him a lot more trouble than him winning the race by about 35 seconds from his teammate.
Was it 35 from Checo?
It's something, mate. It was not 20, 45.
20.8.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he really stormed it, mate.
It's near enough 2 minutes from P10.
Yeah. Yeah,
over
mate.
51 laps.
He was really good. His pace was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And the way he was so calm on the radio, and the way he was saying, like, I would just want to go at this pace, want to make sure I keep the tires warm. And it was just very mature from a guy that I've obviously slandered for being very petulant in the past. So
yeah,
fucking good job, Max. Good job, Red Bull. Done well on the strategy. Boxed under the second virtual safety car. Got a free stop out of it. Made sure that both drivers made it home. No tyre issues this year either. Could have said that without a smile, couldn't I? But P3 is Mr. Sunday? Question mark.
Mr. Consistency.
Mr. Consistency? Who is this guy?
Mate, I'm not being funny. Again, we can always bring up the fact that there are other factors that come into him finishing on the podium. And he said that. He said, I think P3, I think podium was a bit of a stretch for today, but you got to be there to do it. Whatever, that kind of stuff. It's all fair game. We can call him a net P5, which we want.
Which we will.
He was net P5. I mean, Verstappen was net P2 technically. So.
Net P2, yes.
But bloody hell, I mean, there's a bit of moaning going on from him. But he's always in his own race as well.
Yeah, well, this is so earlier on in the group chat we discussed about Luke suggested that George Russell might be the driver of the season so far, and there's every argument for it. I'm not saying that he hasn't done a terrific job, because he has, but Luke said that Max Verstappen hadn't done anything spectacular. But controversially, I would flip that around and say that George Russell hasn't done anything spectacular except qualify well and then drive on his own.
Yeah, he's literally. This one, we're talking 25 seconds behind Perez and 25 seconds in front of Hamilton.
Just chilling, bro. He's just chilling.
If he DNF'd, right, there would have been a 50-second gap between second and third.
It is amazing. I'll take you back to Barcelona. He finished 19 seconds behind Perez, but then another 13 seconds ahead of Carlos Sainz.
He is running his own race, and it seems to help him.
Yeah,
he's not having any issues, is he?
No, he's just plodding along, having a good time, mate. And I'm just looking at all the results for the races this year. I mean, Saudi Arabia, he finished 24 seconds ahead of Ocon, but 22 seconds behind Perez. The geezer loves a Sunday cruise, mate. That's just it. And like I say, he's doing brilliant. He's not making mistakes. He's qualifying well. And this is the big thing. You know, we talk about Lewis's luck, which obviously I'll talk about. But at the end of the day, Lewis is in those positions because he's not qualifying as well as George is.
No.
So George is more than earning his stripes being there. But I don't feel that he's done anything spectacular. He's just got the job done, put himself in the right places. He's maybe got a bit lucky with a couple of strategy calls. I think there was a safety car in Saudi and a safety car in Australia that gave him a couple of benefits. But, you know, as I say, you know, as he says, you know, you've got to be there at the end. And he has been. So, yeah. I
mean, he actually benefited based on track position this weekend as well.
Yeah, of course, because they double stacked. And, he got first rights, and Lewis ended up losing the place to Sebastian Vettel in the pit stops.
What I did think was funny around the qualifying, the toe. Did you see this video about it?
No, I don't think so.
So he was being interviewed, and I think it was both of them, him and Hamilton, were being interviewed. Or maybe it was just Russell. I can't remember. I think it was just Russell. And they said, how do you decide who goes first and who goes second? He said, well, at the beginning of the year, we flip a coin.
Really?
And whoever wants to go first goes first. And then we just alternate choice.
Okay. It's fair enough, though.
I mean, he got his toe and, you know, he did well.
You've seen it in the past, though. Teams do run a similar system. There was a situation a couple of years ago. Red Bull in qualifying, it was Ricciardo's turn to give Max a toe.
Oh my God, he didn't like that, did he?
And Ricciardo started backing him up. Do you remember? And they were going, Max, just overtake
like
him.
2018?
Yeah, like 2018, 2019. They're going, overtake him, Max, overtake him. And he's going, no, it's my turn. So, yeah, it shows they're not the only one that have a sort of system like that. But...
Yeah, that's the one I'd have referenced as well to sort of bring into the fact that it's a normal thing.
Yeah. But it is funny to think heads or tails will determine whether you've got a toe at Baku or something like later on in the year.
Yeah, well, I think they get choice for each race, because obviously sometimes it's better to just get your lap out of the way just in case.
Yeah, exactly. So along with George was obviously in fourth place was Lewis. His best race finish for, I want to say, since the first race of the season.
Podium. Where did he get his podium?
So he got his podium in Bahrain and he finished P4 in Australia. So it's his best result since Australia, finishing P4. He also got driver of the day. Don't know if you knew that.
Was that because he moaned so much about his back hurt?
He got voted driver of the day. Well, he had to make a couple of passes. I think he had to make 3 passes to get P4.
He was battling with Ocon and with Gasly, wasn't he? I think in separate occasions.
He overtook Ocon. He overtook Tsunoda. He overtook Gasly. He overtook Ricciardo.
Car looked all right to overtake as well.
Yeah, it's still like...
Apart from bouncy.
So this was obviously the big thing, particularly for Lewis, it seems. Maybe, you know, he's like 37, 38 now, so maybe that's where age compared to George might have played a bit of a part, but he said his back was killing him around lap 20, and you're thinking, wow, that's a long way to go on a bad back with these, like, bounces. And then he said that his seat had gone cold around lap 40. And
no way, is there?
And Paul di Resta said on commentary, and it's not often Paul di Resta says anything of worth a penny, but for once, so he said this, and he goes, you know, after 45 laps in a sunny Grand Prix, nothing in that car should be cold. And that was when you realise, oh, his back has gone numb. He's gone numb with the pain. He really, I think he couldn't feel his arse like at all. So he really did well to grind through as well. He did a little.
You see Jimmy Broadbent?
No, I haven't. No.
He said, translation, I've pissed myself, Bono.
Yeah, he's just like covering it up. He shit himself.
Seat's gone cold.
So, yeah. Yeah. I mean, as I say, there was a bit of theatrics getting out the car. That could have been hiding a little shit waddle as he's followed through earlier on in the race or something. But yeah, he was in pain. And he only today, it is only Monday, so I say only today. But I got a notification this morning when I woke up to go to work saying that Lewis Hamilton was a big doubt for racing in Canada. And then I've got a notification this afternoon saying Lewis Hamilton confirms he will race in Canada. But The Mercedes at the moment, obviously, we know they're in no man's land, and George Russell's performances have showed that they're just like in between. But they need to. We thought they got on top of it because in Barcelona they looked really good. They're a very similar track to Baku this weekend, in Montreal, and it's do you increase the ride height and lose time and stop your driver from getting injured, or what?
Well, they're trying to bring it to the FIA's attention that it's a massive issue, and apparently 19 drivers agreed with this, apart from.
Well, I'm assuming Max and Perez.
Fernando Alonso apparently was the one driver that says it's not an issue.
That guy, man, he's a troll. I'm convinced.
He's such a shithouse, isn't he?
He is a troll. Oh God, he actually cracks me up. I can't even lie. Martin Brundle and Christian Horner. I've seen two of their opinions today when I was doing my podcast research, and I saw Martin Brundle say that he feels it wouldn't be fair to discredit other teams' aero performance, not having a bounce in by them getting it right and changing all the rules because Mercedes got it wrong. And Christian Horner said something along the same ilk. And again, for once, Christian Horner, I agree with you. Yeah, I think Mercedes got it wrong. They're very reluctant to go back to a more conventional shape. So, yeah, I mean, we're
staying without side pods.
Yeah, so you either will unlock the potential of what looks to be a really good car if you could get a purr in, or you say, look, we got it wrong. Let's not break Lewis's back.
Don't you think when you look at the car and the lack of side pods, don't you look at it and think it doesn't look very aerodynamic?
It doesn't look like it should be fast at all.
When you look at it and you're thinking, okay, so everyone's got this whole thing with big holes in the side for the air. They've gone, nah. The air will, fun.
There is no air.
Where does it come from? Where is the logic there, is my question.
So, yeah, lots of work to do, as we've said a lot with Mercedes. We thought, they were the fastest in the straights and the fast corners in Spain, according to George Russell, by the way. That was according to him. That might not actually be true, but that was what he said.
Oh, he's a bit of a PR merchant, isn't he?
Yeah, because I've said things based on things he said before. Like he said that they were good in the slow corners once, and I said that. And then we saw him in Monaco, and I was like, cheers, George. Thanks for saying that, making me look stupid. Yeah, comparsa.
Talking out of his ass.
So yeah, there's not really too much to say more on Merc because it's the same thing. We know what work that has to be done. We know that even if they are to fix the bouncing, which they kind of did once and need to do again, there's still plenty of fundamental issues with like the suspension. It's very stiff. They've really misjudged the tyres, the new tyres. It's just, there's some fixes to be made. Will Merc get there before the end of the season? I don't know. I hope so, but I don't know.
I think they're a strong contender for third place in the championship for constructors, but that might be about what happens, really, isn't there?
Yeah, best of the rest. They'll finish best of the rest. I'd like to see Lewis get another podium at least some point. It might be the first time in a Formula One season in 2007, 15 years that we will not see Lewis Hamilton win a race. That is a very real possibility. Be the first time in his career he hasn't won a race in a season.
But I tell you why and when I hope it happens. Can we reveal your secret?
Oh yeah, we can.
Can we just say that if it happens then?
Yeah, that would be. Well, I don't even know what I'd do. Probably shag you.
We are staying in a tent.
We are staying in a tent. For those of you that are listening and anyone that's watching on YouTube, mostly listening though, I have bagged myself a gig at Silverstone this year for the race. So, we're gonna get a load of content together for it. And we're gonna watch some racing and I'm gonna do some singing. It's pretty mental, mate.
I'm gonna be there like a proud mum with my camera.
And I'm dragging Joe along for the ride so we can get some Fourth Sector podcast content as well. We might even make
because you like me.
And because I like you, I guess. Yeah. I don't know what he means. But yeah, so that's if Lewis is to do it at Silverstone, which is meant to be the next place that Mercedes come with their upgrades, according to all these fucking fake F1 insiders on TikTok, them guys do my head in. And actually, I was going to move on because we've still got a decent amount to talk about. But I just wanted to address some fucking idiots that I won't name. Right, because these, first of all, screw your fucking heads on. The Mercedes is not being, the Red Bulls aren't being remote controlled from a fucking office in fucking Milton Keynes, you twat. And then second of all,
they thought it was the pit box.
Oh, the pit box, that's fine then. Yeah, like someone's there with a little RC controller. Fucking slow it the fuck off.
Turn him up.
Fucking hell, show some respect to the sport, man. And then to the other guy that said that Lewis and Bono are falling out because Lewis, oh my God, screw your head on.
Has this relationship between Lewis and Bono gone sour?
No, Max calls this race engineer a wanker every week. Every week. And he's doing great. He's winning the championship. Look how red I've gone. Right.
I think the main thing is that I like about it now is that I only send these things into the group chat to wind you up as well.
It really gets under my skin.
I'm like, Cal's gonna love this.
I had to unblock them to watch a video that made me fuming, so then I blocked them again. Okay, AlphaTauri.
Wow, it looks like a race car.
It's a race car again. This is a car. So this is a result that was possible for the AlphaTauri for the last few years, and we've known that, and particularly in the hands of Pierre Gasly. Average
performance for the past few years.
Exactly that, particularly in the hands of Pierre Gasly, and it was kind of like, this is back to what we've expected a little bit, and it was really great to see him up there battling for P4, and Yuki, of course, was P6 until half it almost feels like I called it the most unrealistic issue I've ever heard in my life. Because in 11 years of DRS, this has never happened in Formula One. But half the wing is closed and half the wing was open. And then at the end of
which can't be good for aerodynamicism. Dynamicism?
Yeah, well, aerodynamicism? That sounds right. Well, it's aerodynamics, isn't it?
It can't be good for the aerodynamics of the car to have one half of your wing open, can it?
No, and apparently it's really unsafe as well.
So he's pitted.
He's popped into the box, and I can picture them like all sitting around like, how do we fix this? And some geezer comes from the back of the thing with a roll of gaffer tape.
He's just like, in the toolbox at the back. He's like, I know there's duct tape in somewhere.
He's throwing like carbon fiber and screwdrivers and all these useful tools, and he's like, boys, I've got it. Gaffer tape, come on.
But they didn't even like go round the whole wing. They just tried to stick it to the bottom of the wing. They're like, that'll hold. And apparently the FIA were furious.
Yeah, someone was already on their way to the garage to tell them off, but they'd already sent Yuki back out and said, don't use DRS, don't worry about it.
And he was like, what's going on?
So I do feel for Yuki. He was putting in a brilliant drive alongside Pierre Gasly and probably could have got P6, P7 in this race. But some really good points for Pierre Gasly. Obviously, he was on 6 points for the season, and now he moves up to 16 points with a nice 10-point haul from that. So, yeah, great job, AlphaTauri. And last week, if you listened last week, my wildcard prediction was double points for AlphaTauri, and I was so close. I was half a wing away from pulling that one off. But yeah, good job, AlphaTauri.
On the prediction front, actually, Luke absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, Luke said Leclerc pole, Max win, didn't he?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how you get there, but you got to be there at the end. And he got it bang on. So well done, Luke, who isn't here, by the way. We didn't address that either. We are bad hosts.
Yeah, he's dead.
Luke's dead. Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin, P6. And had the coolest spin of all time.
Oh, mate, that was the sickest thing. And it was like one of them things where you get the pixelated sunglasses in the joint and he goes, da 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 da.
Yeah, it was like a meme, wasn't it?
Oh, and it was so sick.
He was overtaking Ocon.
Yeah.
The move was done. Locked up, overran it.
It was just over.
So soon that he'd overran it that he just like whipped the wheel. Spun the car out.
He was so close as well with the back of the car, spinning it around to get in the wall as well. I was like, That's the coolest thing anyone's ever done in a Formula One car.
I will have to look later and see if there's any slow-mo footage of that. I really want to see that.
So good.
But yeah, so well done, Seb, for not only a terrific drive, great pace. Probably could have been. I think he would have been very close with Lewis had he not spun. He lost about 20 seconds off the spin, right? About 20 seconds. They reckon he lost about 20 seconds. They said it on commentary.
Okay.
And he finished 13 seconds behind Lewis.
Oh, so he had Lewis in the bag, apparently.
Yeah, so he very much could have had Lewis in the bag. So great drive, and it's a shame about that spin, but I think a lot of people got caught out by that corner, and yeah, he stalled it out. Did nearly cause a collision on his re-entry to the track, but it's a street track. Where else he meant to go?
I did think, I couldn't tell who was coming up. Was it Gasly?
Sonoda, I believe.
Sonoda was coming up. He could have just stayed a bit more in. He didn't have to go as wide on that turn, I didn't think, because I thought, well, you could see he was going to come out, so stay away from him kind of thing. But I don't know, maybe he was going full beans, but he shouldn't have been going full beans because it was yellow flag. So yeah, I thought Sonoda ran it a bit wide, and he could have tucked in a bit more.
Yeah, either way, no penalisation. No penalisation for Sebastian Vettel, and a really terrific result. However, to cap another woeful weekend for his Canadian teammate, Lance Stroll crashed twice. He's so sacked. He crashed twice in qualifying, got into the race, DNF. So Stroll needs a good run of results, but
is that the hat trick?
It's a hat
trick, isn't it?
It's a hat trick. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, he's got to get a good run of results going, but I think the security of his seat is not really in too much question at the moment. So
I reckon it'd be all right.
I think he'll be okay too. And just checking the standings, he is currently 17th in the standings. He's got one more point than Zhou Guanyu, yeah, and less points than Alex Albon in the Williams. So
imagine having less points than Alex Albon in the Williams.
So it really is, by and large, a really tough season for him. Seb's only got 13 points, but he missed 2 races.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I think they were probably Aston Martin's worst 2 races. They looked horrible at Bahrain and Saudi.
Yeah, no, it did look really, really disgusting, didn't it?
It did, but you don't know, with all the DNFs and stuff, he might have been able to nick a 10th place or something. But yeah, so a lot to work on for Aston Martin as a whole. I listened to a Lawrence Stroll podcast today. It wasn't his podcast. It was the F1 podcast, Beyond the Grid.
What podcast?
Really, really good podcast, by the way. And not, if any of you are listening to this and not that, go and listen to that after this.
Is it Damon Hill that does quite a lot on it?
They've got their own one that's like in association with it. Where Damon Hill's on it. But this one's just done by, I forget his name. He's quite a nice fella, but I can't think of his name. But yeah, it's
okay. The other one's F1 Nation.
Yeah, that's the one with Damon Hill on.
This one's Tom Clarkson.
Tom Clarkson, that's it. Yeah, and he has some brilliant guests, and it's sometimes it's engineers from teams, and sometimes it's drivers, it's team bosses, and it's really insightful, and it's just really cool to listen to. And there's some other tidbits that maybe I'll save for like when we're doing like a mid race week podcast or something to discuss, but. There was like talks of like when Flavio Briatore pitched Alonso to Red Bull when Ricciardo left and stuff like that. So some really cool stories to talk about. Anyway, back on track. He said that Lawrence Stroll has a 5-year plan for Aston Martin to be fighting, not winning, fighting for championships. And he reckons it's going to plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
so we'll see how that goes. But P14 and P17 in the championship, I really can't imagine that was in the plan. Alpine, Alonso P7, Ocon P10. We've said on this podcast before, and I'm certain of it, that we said that Alpine are the most P7, P10 cars of all time.
Yep.
And here they are, P7, P10. It's great jobs. It's consistent points. They're probably one of the most consistent cars on the grid. You see Mercedes have been up and down through like Imola and all of this. And
yeah. But, no. Actually, the most consistent on the grid is Latifi with P16.
But he's finishing, man. He's finishing.
No, he's got like 2 DNFs and 5 P16s. Legit.
There you go. So maybe, sorry. I'll take that back, Alpine. Better luck next time.
But he's also behind Nico Hulkenberg in the standings.
That is truly, truly remarkable.
So no, this is really good. So he got P15 in Azerbaijan, P15 in Monaco, P16 in Spain, P14 in Miami, P16 in Italy, P16 in Australia, DNF in Saudi Arabia, and P16 in Bahrain. That is consistency personified.
And that's what you pay for. That is what you pay for. What a legend. So sorry, Alpine, I'm going to take back that consistency thing. The thing was a rocket ship down the straights, had the fastest speed trap speeds all through practice and stuff. So made it very difficult to overtake. Probably a bit of a setup thing as well, but running there.
Which by the way, the speed that we're talking was about 340, was it?
Yeah, it was very fast. Very, very fast. It was like a rocket down there. Also got the fastest pit stop this weekend, Alpine, for Fernando Alonso.
I took it away from McLaren normally.
Yeah, so good job there as well. And well done, my mate Dan from school, because he's part of that pit crew. Well, he's actually part of Ocon's pit crew, but still, well done, Dan. Good job, mate.
Shout out, Dan. Come on the pod.
Come on the pod. I'll speak to him at some point. Solid weekend. Well done, Alpine. Points. Where are they in the championship? 5th in the constructors.
It seems high, but obviously it's just P7 and P10 doing what P7 and P10 does.
Yeah, they probably will come 5th as well. I think McLaren are quite erratic, but they'll generally score more points over the course of a full season. And that brings us on to McLaren.
Double points for the boys!
Double points. It's not the dreamiest double points by any means, but it's double points, and that is more than going to be accepted by McLaren at the moment. It's 6 points on the board, and Daniel Ricciardo beats Lando Norris in a race. He hadn't beaten Lando Norris in a session in Formula One. I think I don't know the exact number, so someone will have to check this. But it was
since Monza, probably.
But it was along the line of like 17 consecutive sessions. We're talking P1, P2, P3, Q1, Q2, Q3, or something that Daniel Ricciardo did not finish ahead of Lando Norris. But he beat him yesterday. Why do I keep thinking it's Sunday? I went to work today. I don't know why I keep doing that. Well done, McLaren, I guess. And there was a bit of unrest though. Did you get to see all the team radio and stuff? They weren't overly happy about it.
We watched all the team radio together, by the way, just now.
Yeah. But they don't know that. So.
Oh yeah, no, we prep. No, I think the prep's a good thing. That's kind of behind the scenes stuff, though, isn't it? The team radio videos and stuff. But it was. They were talking about if Ricciardo can't catch up with Alonso, we'll let you through. But if you can't catch up with Alonso, you'd have to give the place back. And he was like, yeah, understood. But Ricciardo needs to hurry up then. And then I think he tried to race him towards the end, didn't he? And
and they told him no. So the thing is earlier on in the race, they were on different strategies, and Ricciardo had the pace to overtake Norris. And they said, don't overtake Norris because it's going to help him out. So it got Norris into the pits without him being done. But then obviously, as Ricciardo said, he said, if you leave me out here any longer, I'm going to get eaten by Gasly. He got eaten by Gasly the next lap.
Yeah, immediately.
So they basically told Lando at the end of the race that it was returning the favour for Ricciardo doing that earlier on. And Norris was like, yeah, but that was strategic in the middle of a race. But this is 3 laps before the end of the race. This isn't strategy anymore. This is just pace. I should be allowed to overtake.
Yeah.
He didn't. After the race, he gave like a bit of I love Lando, but it was a bit of a snotty interview where he was like, yeah, I'm a team player. And
Is it Charlotte that used to be his kind of like PR babysitter? I think it was Charlotte. And since she's gone,
he's got a bit rogue, hasn't he? He's quite rogue.
So rogue.
I remember after
he would just swear about the car being naff.
Was it after Bahrain where he was like, yeah, we're well slow. We're just like real slow. And then we're like, oh well, you could have a really good race next week.
No, we won't.
And he went, nope, these corners, and we're bad in all of them. And it was like, oh my God, this guy. So Lando is a bit loose, and he sort of gritted his teeth.
He's like 23, isn't he? 22?
Yeah, he is young. He's very young, yeah. He sort of gritted his teeth. He smiled. He said he was a team player, but he said it with like a tone that said kind of "fuck you." But they took home the points. Lando's had a lot of good times compared to Daniel recently, so there's no need to complain too much. Alfa Romeo, there's not really too much to say. Bottas just about made it into Q2. If you remember, he literally qualified P15 got through with his last lap. Obviously aided by that yellow flag that was caused by Alonso. And then I think he finished P11 in the race.
He did. He went far off Ocon, but he wasn't on his coattails either.
No, and this was actually a weekend where Bottas couldn't get near Guan Yu Zhou.
Zhou Guan Yu.
Fuck.
Until his car broke.
Until his car broke, but there was quite a big gap between them. I think even in qualifying it was like 0.6, which obviously that statistically has been the biggest qualifying gap of the season. The other way around.
Yeah, so, I'm a big fan of Zhou Guan Yu. I think he's carried himself very well. He did have a bit of a meltdown over when the car died, but you can that's emotions and stress and
of course, and it's happened to him a couple of times now, and as we know, it was Ferrari power unit related, which is just really frustrating for him. It's his first season, but I think he knows he's in a car that's capable of more than 1 point. And I think he's a driver that's capable of more than 1 point. He just needs to put it all together. And I'm confident he'll get a couple more points towards the end of the year.
No, I think he's class.
But yeah, so unlucky for Guan Yu Zhou. And for Bottas, who has been really good this year, that was a particularly quiet weekend. I wouldn't say bad. P11 is not bad.
Oh, wait. What's the numbers on Q3 appearances? It was 100 and something in a row.
It was 156 or something.
That was a big stat, wasn't it?
Yeah, but unfortunately, it has come to an end.
Was he the longest in there as well?
Yeah, by quite a way, I think.
Yeah. Because Hamilton had been beaten out this year, and I think that would have been the first time he'd been beaten out for a while as well.
Interestingly, Carlos Sainz lost a run as well. It was a clutching at straws statistic that they said. It was along the lines of he's lost a run of like 50 races, consecutive races in the points in European Grand Prix or something. That can't be exactly right because obviously he didn't finish in Imola.
Yeah,
but it was something like that. I can't remember exactly. So
yeah, it sounds a wank, doesn't it?
It was so clutching at straws when they read it out on commentary. Williams, Albon P12. You honestly would have had any idea that he'd showed up. Latifi, Mr. Consistent, P15. He'd have a bit of bad luck at the start, actually.
Well, it's not bad luck. He was just shit.
No, but at the very start, he didn't tell his teammates to roll his car back. You know what I mean?
He won in the pit box, though.
Yeah, but it was only the formation lap. He didn't need to be rolled back.
Oh, yeah, it was a formation lap. You're right.
Yeah, so he didn't need to be rolled back. But
I thought it was the start. Sorry, the start box. I thought it was the start, but it wasn't. It was the...
No, it was before the formation lap. So the guy rolled him back and then just gave him a thumbs up. And it was innocent. Obviously, there was no malintentions, but it did give him a very early penalty that he served in the box. And I mean, I can say this without much worry that I don't think his weekend was affected by that decision. But it can't be a good feeling when you're in his position to then get a setback like that off the rip before the race has even started. If you've got any chance of trying to make an impression, this is going to be my weekend that I come P13.
That would have been his best result, yeah.
There's no chance it gets ripped away from him before the race has even started. So, yeah, unlucky Latifi, Albono, keep driving. One day you'll probably end up in the points again.
Yeah, he's all right.
Haas, very, very quickly falling back to the back of the field. I like Mick Schumacher, but I think that some of his crashes have been very much a big part of it because they are working on a very fine budget and they've probably spent $2 million on his cars alone. this year.
Yeah.
They've brought no upgrades, and a car that looked very solid at the start of the year because of its Ferrari engine, may I add, is now looking pretty piss poor because of its Ferrari engine. So,
well, Monaco was obviously the Magnussen retire.
Yeah, and this weekend, same again. MG UK. Now, I did read something earlier, and I don't have it in front of me, so I'm not even going to try and pretend to quote it because I would actually just be making it up. I can't remember it, but something along the lines of, like, I think Charles Leclerc's already used 3 of his allotted 4 MG UKs this year. So they're going to be taking some penalties as well at some point. And as will most teams anyway, because they probably will still use them all, but more for Ferrari because they've only got 1 left to play with. And then,
there's only 15 races left. Fine.
Yeah, hopefully they'll get through it. But yeah, Mick Schumacher P14. You know, again, he's another driver. I've watched the whole race. It's good experience for him to get out there, but there was nothing of note from the young German driver. And Kevin Magnussen didn't finish. And that is your Baku Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Was there anything worth noting that you wanted to mention at all?
No.
As I say, it was a bit of a procession after 20 laps. I think that's a fair thing to say. And but we have.
Here we go. Toto Wolff calling Mercedes a shitbox.
He did call Mercedes a shitbox. He did call it a shitbox.
Yeah.
We did. I was saying it's a very British phrase. I think so. The phrase shitbox. So there's a lot to be digested and it's as always, I think the midfield battle is posing a very interesting picture this season. There's no standouts. Each race, someone could do better than the other team, and it really is a race by race scenario. So it is interesting to see, and I don't know who'll be taking that 4th and 5th spot in the championship, but I think it's going to be McLaren and Alpine. Yeah,
that makes sense.
However, no rest for the wicked because we have a race in 1 week, Joe.
We do.
We're going to Canada. We're back in Montreal. Do you remember what happened last time we were in Montreal?
I do not.
I thought you'd say no.
Enlighten me.
I was banking on you saying no, actually. Because
was this your favourite race ever?
No. That was Canada 2011.
So this is 2018 was the last time we were there, isn't it?
I think so. And Lewis was all over the back of Seb. All over him. Couldn't get past him. Seb finally made a mistake going through turns 1, 2, 3 and 4. Seb made a mistake, went over the grass. It's a very, very narrow section of the track. Lewis makes the chicane, and Seb rejoins the track and nearly puts Lewis into the wall. And they gave Seb a 5-second time penalty. So when he moves the boards,
where he moved the boards.
Where he moves the boards. That
iconic.
Was the last time we was in Canada. Vettel won the race in terms of he was the first car to finish first, but Lewis just kept it within 5 seconds and got the win, stood on the top step. Vettel refused to go to the podium and he was fuming very fairly, I think. And he wouldn't have gone to the podium if he didn't really feel that he was going to get even more of a penalty if he hadn't gone. Before he went up to the podium, he walked over to where the number 1 in front of Lewis's car was, moved that to where his car should be, and moved the number 2 in front of Lewis's car. So we are returning to Canada this weekend. A lot of talk has been about how it's of a similar ilk to Baku.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, do you know who you think is going to win the race?
I've got Luke's here.
Okay.
I'm flipping his.
Okay.
So he's gone for pole Max, win Sergio.
Oh, okay.
I'm going for pole Sergio, win Max.
Right. Well,
Checo's been outperforming Max on 1 lap pace at the minute. I think he does. But I think in a race, Max just either gets let through or just pips him.
Yeah, it does seem that, Red Bull will give Checo every chance. They will give him every chance to succeed. Sorry, everyone. These are my breasts. But
hey, YouTube.
Hey YouTube, but I still feel that they are going to maybe lean towards Max, like how they said no fighting. I feel that if Perez was closing in on Max at the rate of knots he was, I don't think they go on the radio to Max and say no fighting.
They say let him race.
They say let him race and just let him go for it. And with that, if with that pace advantage, if it was that way round, Perez would have overtook him eventually. But that Max would put up a fight. And it was a bit of a bit sad that they still put a bit of that kind of favoritism on him. So you two,
who have you got?
You two have flipped the Ferrari qualifying pace.
Yep.
So I'm going to once again back Charles Leclerc to take pole position.
Yep.
But I am going to back Canada.
Lewis Hamilton.
I was thinking, can he do it? No. I might just go for a Leclerc double.
Oh, another Leclerc double.
Have you noticed, and anyone that has been a religious listener of this podcast will also notice that anytime I've picked a driver for a double, they've DNF'd. I did Max double in Bahrain. I said Max double in Australia. I said, I think I threw a signs in there somewhere.
Yeah, DNF.
And Leclerc in Barcelona.
Yeah.
And Leclerc in
Baku.
So Leclerc, I've picked you for a double, mate.
Sorry
about that. I do apologise.
It's going to be a shit weekend, pal.
Good luck. Also, my face is even more red now because I've put a light on that is now, it's one of those little colour bulbs, but I appear to have not changed the setting and it's just red.
Oh, yeah, I quite like having the colour bulb on mine.
It's not very bright though.
Oh no, mine. If I turn mine white, it goes really bright. But I can go a little bit red.
Oh,
yeah. But then if
guys, you need to tune into the YouTube.
If I go white here, so this is white and this is 40%. I'll turn it all the way up.
Oh, bloody Nora! It's like you're in heaven,
bathed in light.
And the white pearly gates.
Yeah.
Do you have any wildcard predictions?
I mean,
I think
it's quite wild. McLaren podium. It's quite wild.
I think it's back-to-back McLaren podiums from Joe here. He backed Lando for Baku podium, didn't you?
Did I?
Yeah. That was your wild card.
He's only 6 places off.
Only 6.
Net P8 places off.
Oh shit. Okay. McLaren podium, fuck.
Wild card for a reason.
It's true. It's exactly what it's there for. I think we're going to see. No, I can't say that because I've just picked Charles Leclerc as my winner. So I can't. I was going to say, I think we'll see Sainz beat Leclerc, but I've picked Leclerc as the winner.
He can't do that.
He can't do that. I'm going to say that we're going to see Lewis Hamilton come in the top 5, top 4,
like he did
this weekend. No, let me change that. But it was a net P6.
But you know what would be really rogue?
What?
Aston Martin double points.
Oh, I do like that, but I didn't come up with it, so I can't choose it.
That'd be so rogue, wouldn't it?
That'd be so rogue. I'm going to say Alpine P7, P10.
As the non-wild card, just the normal prediction because it happens every week.
Yeah. Watch it happen. Okay. Let me look at the drivers here. Let me look at some drivers. Let me just really soak it in.
I've stopped going for Mick points. I think you pointed that out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we gave him, fuck it, Mick Schumacher point. I'm having that. This is the weekend. He's taking a point. So I put a new one in there, which is best of the rest. And this is assuming both Red Bulls and Ferraris finish. They're going to be top 4.
Yep.
Who's P5? Probably George Russell, isn't it?
George Russell.
It was a dumb segment. Fuck it.
It's done anyway.
It's done anyway. George Russell.
It'll be 20 seconds in front of P5. In front of P6, sorry. It'll be 20 seconds. Yeah, no, it'd be 20 seconds in front of P6. It would just sit there in 5th place.
Oh, yeah. Well done, George. Good job, mate. Yeah, so that is the
Clip it, TikTok.
The most fourth sector fucking predictions of all time.
Yeah.
We have one final segment. As we're probably
the revamped section.
We're about to hit the hour mark, roughly, I reckon. So let's get this done. So it's time for guess the
driver. And yeah, let's go for it quickly because I've got to watch Love Island. I'm late.
Yeah. All good.
We're going in rounds. I've got 4 rounds, right?
Yes, sir.
You'll absolutely get it by the 4th round. You probably will get it by the 3rd round.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
My name is joking. I made my F1 debut in 2014 at the age of 23.
Kevin Magnussen.
No.
Fuck.
Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah.
I started 97 Grands Prix and never won a race.
Oh, you could be so many people now.
Yeah. I'm hoping no one's picked him before, to be honest. Because we haven't actually kept track.
Okay. His debut was in 2014, which is the start of the turbo hybrid era. That was the first year of the new.
Yeah, what shit year to start.
Yeah. Merc dominated, and this guy didn't win a race, so he definitely wasn't in a Merc.
He was not in a Merc.
It could have been in any other car. Okay, so he probably wasn't in a Ferrari, probably wasn't in a Red Bull. He raced 97 races.
Entries and starts, both 97. So
okay, so if I think there's average 20 races a season, 20, 40, 60, 80, 4 seasons from 2014, 2018, maximum he was around till was 2019. Maximum. So he raced 97 races, but he's not around anymore. Who raced from around 2014 to around 2018, 2019? It doesn't race now. He was 23 when he came in.
Which I suppose back then wasn't that old, but now you think of it like it's old, wouldn't you?
Yeah, a little bit. Daniel Kvyat?
No,
I didn't think it was, to be honest.
Okay. I've raced alongside, as in teammates with.
Yeah.
Charles Leclerc.
Okay.
And Kobayashi.
So it must be Marcus Ericsson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Had we picked him before?
No.
No. Okay. Well, my obviously round number 4 was going to be, I have won the Indy 500.
Oh, see, I think I would have I thought it was going to be like, I am Swedish. Is he even Swedish?
He is Swedish.
He's Swedish.
But I think winning the Indy 500 is probably the most obvious one about the whole thing.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I thought I was going to be upset that I didn't get it after that second one because I was doing all my 2018, 2019. Ooh.
Yeah.
But because I had Sergei Sorokin in my head, and then I thought, there's no way they gave him 4 years at Williams.
No, because so Ericsson was Caterham and Sauber.
Yeah, I was thinking Sorokin was at Williams.
Yeah, no. So he was Caterham 2014 with Kobayashi, and then obviously with Leclerc at Sauber when it was Sauber Ferrari.
Yeah, that was a good one, actually. I really enjoy that format. I actually really enjoy that.
No, it as you say, it leaves us from just asking the same 5 questions in a row.
Yeah, every time. I did at one point nearly say, I think I was going to say, as he retired? And then I was like, wait, no, wrong format. Wrong format.
No, just guesses.
Okay, well, Joe, I will see you in a week.
Yeah, we'll film on Sunday this week. Yeah.
We'll film on Sunday. No.
I don't know. I might be back. I'll be back in the evening. Yeah, film in the evening.
Okay. If not Monday, so I'll see you maybe in 6 days, maybe in 7, where we'll be talking about the winning drive of the Canadian Grand Prix.
Max Verstappen.
Max Verstappen.
TikTok.
George Russell came 5th. Good job. Okay, cool. See you later, everyone. Take care of yourselves. Bye.
Thank you.